all others dropped off. That's obviously strokes a lap and time taken put together. She got more efficient as she moved into the racing, while everyone else's didn't. But Colwell looking very, very strong as it stands right now as well in the middle of the pool. We'll just catch up on the timing in a second, but it's Colwell who leads, not Ilaria Zane in the grey, and it looks like Potter's not too much between Kingma and Potter behind her.
And Potter really made a move through these transitions. As we keep saying, she was the quickest in London through transition. She was able to get out behind, but really close that gap in transition, which she's doing again.
Transitions really hurt Sophie Colwell last time. She actually spent less time on either bike, run or swim than Beth Potter did in London 3 weeks ago, but Potter's transitions were so much faster, she ended up relegating Colwell, but she's on first on the run. As we move into the virtual world of Zwift, Colwell will be leading, and it'll be Potter who'll be second, and Kingma as well.
And Potter's fastest run in London was a 3:14 for the kilometre, which is about 5 or 6 seconds quicker than Sophie Colwell's fastest run. So that closing of that transition gap, which she did there, they both got onto that treadmill together. Now we're going to see it open up, and this is where that run speed really starts to come important, getting that machine up to pace and moving away.
All right, and this is where we break ground the Arena Games. We've moved from the real world now into the virtual world, and it's a beautiful day in the virtual world of Zwift, and in front is Sophie Colwell, and behind her, of course, they're all wearing the same colours as they're wearing in real life, is Beth Potter 2 seconds back. And despite the fact that Potter and Kingma got out roughly together out of the water, big gap between the two of them when it comes to where we are now in the virtual world. Potter obviously running at 17.7 kilometres an hour. Kingma's about a kilometre slower, and she was a little bit slower as well in the transition. Scribanja has kept up with Kingma. They are together in a big gap back. When we say big gap, 5 seconds to Waff. And then Lisa Turch, Alice Beto, Anna Godoy, Ilaria Zane, and Rachel Klammer off the back, which is interesting early.
But I tell you what, Sophie Colwell looks very, very relaxed this week. She seemed to struggle a little bit more in London. When you saw her facial expressions in this first race, she found that pace very, very tough. She seems a lot more in control. She's holding Beth Potter off at 1.1 second after, what, 400 metres of running, which is great running for Sophie. She's running quicker than she did in London off her high-speed splits. But it's Beth Potter really starts to move as these run legs come into that distance, and she starts to move in that latter part of the run as she moves up onto Sophie now.
Absolutely the fastest runner, around a 3:14 for the 1K on the air runner, which is around 30% harder than running on flat ground, which means around a 6% gradient. So she ran essentially a 3:14 while running uphill on a 6%, and she did that multiple times across the course of the half hour or so, and she's just run past Sophie Colwell into the lead.
Well, Sophie's going to tag her here. She had a quick glance across. You see them on the treadmills. They can see the athlete next to them running. They can feel their presence, even though we're seeing it on a screen. They're sitting on those treadmills, but she's staying very, very close to Beth, which is, as Beth did in the swim, they're transitioning to their best now stronger on the bike, on the run, and we're seeing Sophie Colwell tag her, and they've really gapped the field. Big gaps. These two are away, and they're going to be fighting for the minor placings between the rest of the athletes.
Now it's about wondering whether, and this is about where the tactics come in.
We say that a lot, don't we? Whether you shut it down if you're in those other spots, or do you let those two go and save for the next race if you're in 3rd, 4th and 5th, or do you continue to chase?
That's the question. You're 11 seconds ahead of Rani Scribanja. You could probably put the queue in the rack somewhat. You've got to bike 3 kilometres, which is less than you had to before, but you can see the gap back to Scribanja and Kingma 15 seconds. So do you go for that 1 point? Do you go for that, or because you've been waiting to race for 3 weeks, you can't help yourself, and you know that, maybe if you're Colwell, you know you've got great bike power, and you go, I'm going to get that extra point. I don't have to burn too many to beat Beth Potter. But she showed us how good she was on the bike. Much improved athlete from where we've seen before. So do you fight it out, or do you go to each other, okay, well, you know what? We'll just go at the 10 and the 9 and we'll save a bit.
Yeah, well, in the men's racing, it's come down to that 3rd race in every single Arena Games we've had. That 3rd race has split the field. So points matter, and we're starting to see the athletes starting to calculate those points. In the past, they were just going hard from stage to stage and looking at the end of the race going, oh, this is where I came. Now it's very, very critical to know when to exert your energy, how to do it as they transition off the run now onto the bike.
All right, this is where Potter has been so good on transition. And onto the bike goes Colwell, and you can see she's having a little bit of trouble with the shoes, and that could almost be enough if Potter can put down some decent power. We know how strong Colwell is. Here comes Scribanja and Anna Godoy, who has moved away up into 4th position ahead of Kingma there in the middle in the purple.
You see the elastic band on Sophie Colwell's bike that was keeping the shoe in place. It hasn't snapped. So she hasn't been able to break that, but it keeps the shoe in place and makes the transition a lot quicker. If you look at her left foot, that elastic band is still breaking.
You don't need a rubber band holding you back as well. That's enough for me to stop cycling immediately. But Potter, and you can see Klammer. Oh no, she's gone back. We just work out the timing systems here. But Potter is at around 5.5 watts a kilo. Colwell a little bit more. Scribanger doesn't have the power. She's back at about 3.5 watts a kilo, as is Kingma.
That group of three, Kingma, Goodeye and Scrange are together, and they're putting out big power to keep that group together. They're trying to stay away from Woff and Beto. Rachel Klammer a lot further back than I anticipated her being. She's not having a great stage one.
So Beth Potter, we said a 3:14 was the fastest ever run. She just ran a 3:09 to start.
Well, that's our fastest ever.
That is the fastest ever arena game.
They're chasing those points. So to split that point in a bad sprint on a bike finish, you can go from getting, what, 8 points compared to 4 points, which is a big points difference. So that sprint for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th is going to be a very, very important sprint for all the women racing.
That is the key. Scribanger, Turch, Godoy, Kingma, Wharf and Beto, and add in Rachel Klammer to that mix as well. And across the line in just a minute is going to come Beth Potter, and she's going to finish just about 10 seconds ahead of the field. And she does it while up in the saddle there. You can see her in the pink, and she will finish and do the job. Colwell will come second. And you can see there that she is off and already getting ready for the next one. There's a big sprint coming from Kingma, Scribanger, Turch, Anna Godoy, Kate Woff and Rachel Klammer, and they are off. And it looks like Kingma came 3rd, Turch came 4th, Scribanger, Godoy and Woff. Rachel Klammer comes 8th. Alice Beto comes 9th, and Ilaria Zane finishes with the 1 point, and now it's all about recovery and finding their way to the next one, which is run, bike, swim, and it won't be too long until we get that one done. There goes Potter. All right, there is Potter getting the shoes ready. Of course, the next one is run, then bike, and then swim.
She had a quick glance at the clock to see how much time she's got, how much rest between these stages. Looks very comfortable.
All right, let's go down to Annie Emerson right now on the pool deck.
Sophie Caldwell, that was a 3:12 kilometre. How happy are you with that?
Yeah, big improvements from London, like getting on top of the run a bit more. So, yeah, just need to build now on the next two and not die.
if it hadn't been for Beth's 3:09, that would have been a Super League record. So
I know, and it's not going to be hard one to get a record off Beth, isn't it? But yeah, just keep plugging away and yeah, try and keep as close as we can.
Excellent. Good luck for the next round.
Using up valuable breath there, Sophie Caldwell. Thanks for taking a chat to us. There she is, hitting the yellow button and out first. And I know she's been working really hard on her transitions after what happened in London, because it's no good absolutely hammering yourself on the swim, bike and run to lose it in transition. Shoes on and straight onto the run. It wasn't long before Potter overtook her, and well, you can forgive Sophie Caldwell for that. She put down a 3:12, which is very, very swift. You heard her say that. Off the air runner comes Potter, and she has been lightning from the run to the bike, or coming onto the bike in transition. She's just very good, and you can see there the difference between it when it was tough to get in the pedals for Sophie.
She's really nailed a transition. She's got that down pat. She slides that left foot in, straight into the shoe, gets the bike up to speed very, very quickly. If you compare that to the other athletes, it's just not doing that transition fast enough.
All right, the full 10 points goes to Beth Potter, and it's a Team GBR 1-2 with Sophie Caldwell taking the 9, nearly 20 seconds back. Kingma, Turch, Scribanja round out your top 5. Great work from Rani Scribanja, Anna Godoy, Kate Watt, Rachel Klammer, and then the two Italians, Alice Beto and Ilaria Zane, pick up 2 and 1. But it's not too long until we have another crack with stage 2. It's all about run, bike and swim this time around. We've just finished a race within a race. That was stage 1. Now we're on to stage 2, and we start on the run. It's going to be a little bit different this time, Macca, because they're going to start with their feet either side and then jump onto the air runner, and it's about who can put that power down quickest, who's going to get that little tiny advantage.
And with the swim finish, this should suit the swimmers, in particular Sophie Caldwell. She's finishing with the strongest discipline. She needs to get this run treadmill up to space, key off Beth Potter and stay as close as she possibly can. She cannot lose her in that bike ride.
Can Beth Potter lay down a marker? She's got the run first. Can she get a little gap? Here we go for stage 2. Little false start there from Potter for a second, but you can see how quickly she gets the cadence up, the turnover, and a great shot there of 10 of the fastest women in triathlon. And it's a 1K. Now we'll find out how many matches were burnt by Sophie Caldwell in that 3:12 early run, because I don't know how long that bake was, but it was not long enough.
It goes quick. It goes very, very quick. She seemed very relaxed talking to Annie there on the pool deck. She seems in a good headspace. She looks comfortable now on the treadmill. She knows Beth Potter is the faster runner. She just has to keep that time differential as close as she possibly can. She's going to be much stronger in the swimming pool. Swimming tight is much different than swimming off a fresh swim start like we saw in the last stage. The advantage lies with Sophie Caldwell if she can get in that water within 2 or 3 seconds of Beth Potter.
So Beth Potter, we talked about her bike and maybe Caldwell having a stronger bike, but she averaged 5.1 watts a kilo there. Kingma, Turch and Clam were on 4.6. Now 5.1 is not the highest watts a kilo for any woman ever. Jess Limmonth did 5.2 in Rotterdam last time around. But there is a big air gap between those two and their records and anyone else. So Beth Potter has the all-around game at the moment, and there she is on the right. And who is that on the left? It's Ilaria Zane. So the Italian puts down a very fast start, and she actually has had less recovery time than anybody else, because she actually had 50 seconds less recovery time than when it comes to Beth Potter.
Now, you ask yourself, did she shut down that first stage knowing she was out of the action, gave herself enough energy to come back in these next 2 stages? She's a very, very strong runner. and she set it in tempo, but here goes Beth. She's starting to wind that machine up. You see her on screen. Very, very relaxed. That high arm action that keeps those legs moving over, stays on top of that curved treadmill. She's really starting to drive that pace. Now, she knows she needs that margin of error going into that swim.
It's really the cumulative effect as they go sort of backwards through the rollers, so the run is backwards to the bike.
Sophie's gone past her.
And yeah,
how's that for a statement? Sophie Caldwell has just run past Beth Potter and looks magnificent.
Felt like there was a glitch, but there you go.
Magnificent as she's running.
She does. She's got nice straight torso, high cadence. She looks very good.
Yeah, not over breathing, very, very controlled, head forward. Beth has a much more bouncier run action, but she's allowing that gap to open up slightly, and this advantage with Sophie Caldwell here. These two are going to get together on that bike, and no matter what happens, Sophie is much stronger in the swimming pool.
Talk us through those two running strides and who looks more comfortable there. Obviously, Caldwell was a second ago was a kilometre an hour faster.
Well, if you look at Beth Potter, she's got she lands much closer to the front of her foot as she hits up to the top, towards the top of that treadmill. But Sophie's just such a strong runner. She's got a more even gait. Very, very strong.
Yeah, Sophie's just looking like the T1000 running after the car in the Terminator, if anyone's old enough to remember that. She's just
gapping
strong,
Beth
and she is.
Gapping Beth Potter in this run. What a run performance, which says a lot. Did Beth go all in to break that record, that 3:09, our Super League 1K record? It's starting to sting the legs
now. She does like
now.
to break a record.
Yeah, she is.
Beth Potter.
She's a record breaker.
She's a record breaker. Also, very good run at the moment from Anna Godoy, who's running just shy of 18 kilometres an hour and really putting the heat on Alice Beto and Ilaria Zane behind her. And already two leaders who picked up 10 and 9 points. And there was a little collision there, maybe, between...
Transition for Sophie Caldwell, much better than the first stage. Beth Potter as well. They're going to get on this bike literally even.
All right, we'll go back into the wonderful world of Zwift in just a second. But there is not much across the leaders of this field. And Potter up in the saddle. Caldwell taking some time to get a drink in. And there's hardly anything between them. At the moment, it's 0.3 of a second between Caldwell and Potter. Anna Godoy is right there as well. Put herself in the mix. About 5 seconds back to Beto and Zane. And then Lisa Turch is 11 seconds. 10 seconds now, and she's put in a big sprint too. Look at that, 8.0 watts a kilogram for Lisa Turch. She looks to get on the back of Ilaria Zane.
And the Godoy has to stay on that wheel. She needs to stay. This is the train to the podium. These three are gone if they can stay together. Sophie Caldwell will put her head down and drive this bike. Beth Potter, I think, still recovering from that first stage. She just, to give up 2 seconds to Sophie Caldwell is either a tactical move, knowing that her transitions were quicker, she's in the right position, but going into this swim, I think she needed a margin of error over Sophie Caldwell, but we're going to see.
Well, you would have thought that the top 3 spots in this stage are going to go to these 3 athletes, and then we're going to see really where the race standings are once we add those up. But they're putting time into the 2 Italians and the rest of the field, and Anna Godoy has found herself exactly where she wants to be. There she is at the bottom left of your screen, the Spaniard. She is... Well, she came 6th last time around with 14 points, and looks like she's going to have a better outing this time as they go up the cobblestones for the first time. Now, because it's a 3-kilometre bike and it's a 2-kilometre course, we do 1.5 laps and finish at the top of these cobblestones on the second time around. Anna Godoy, top 10 in the Valencia World Cup. But then when you look at what Beth Potter's done in recent times, I mean, she has taken some big scalps, the 2019 European champion, and you'd almost think she'd be on Team GB in the Olympics if they'd have picked the team now instead of at the end of 2019, although there's some fantastic athletes in the Team GB lineup.
I'd hate to be a selector for Great Britain. They have got so much depth of talent. With the mixed relay coming on board, it's who you pick for that team. But we can only reflect back to the 2016 race with Gwen Jorgensen winning the Olympic gold medal. She came from a running background, has returned to running to pursue her Olympic ambitions in running. Beth Potter doing the complete opposite, having left running from the 2016 Olympic Games and now putting a hand up for Olympic selection in the triathlon.
So good to see triathlon coming up so much that people can go off and dominate, or not dominate, compete, win single discipline events like Beth Potter has done, and obviously Lucy Charles Barclay is right now at the swimming trials to see if she can make it in the 1,500 metres to go to Tokyo.
Super League athlete Hayden Wild qualifying for the Olympics with in New Zealand in 10,000 metres. The talent of the triathletes nowadays across those single disciplines is remarkable.
Right, so if you look back at the swim times, because of course we go into the swim at the end of stage 2, it's run, bike, swim, so we've got the swim coming up. And of our top 3 athletes there who are now nearly 10 seconds clear of Alice Beto and Ilaria Zane and Rachel Klammer, Colwell swam at 2:14, there she is. Potter swam at 2:16 and Godoy swam at 2:19, and there is Anna Godoy right there.
But remember, Sophie Caldwell in London, swims got quicker, more efficient and faster each stage she went through. She's better in the water the tighter she is, and that comes down to technique, coming from a swimming background.
That's so foreign to me.
What, technique or coming from a swimming background?
Both of those things, but also getting better at swimming the longer you go on, because the first 200 metres for me are majestic. The next X number of metres, relatively majestic compared to the rest of my swim, which is horrible. But there you go. Potter in the middle there. Colwell in the middle of your screen. And then Anna Godoy. They'll be your top 3 athletes, barring incident. And it's going to come down in a big way to this transition. So 350 metres to go. They finish at the top of the cobblestones. And these 3, we're going to see who is quick in transition when they're under pressure and the heart rates are high. And someone here might end up with a decent 5-metre advantage, which over 200 metres in the pool, when you're that close, is pretty serious. So Potter had the best transitions out of anyone quite easily. She's taken her feet, you can see there, out of the shoes already. And with 80, 70 metres to go now, she'll be off, running around the pool and looking to get into the water. So in the bottom of your screen, you can see them coming across the line. Sophie came across the line first. Godoy and Potter, and around they go for 10 points through to 8 points in stage 2. And it looks like Godoy's going to be into the water first.
Sophie
it's all
was
about
slow
getting that goggles and the cap on, though.
Sophie was slow in London with getting that cap and goggles on. It cost her that swim. Her transitions in London were so tardy. She's rectified it this week, but this transition now, getting this swim cap on,
Godoy, very quick.
Godoy first in again.
She's in the water first.
I think Sophie's slowed down. Oh,
yeah, Sophie's dropped off 5 metres, but it looks pretty close between Potter. Maybe not 5 metres, but if anyone can make up that gap over 200, it's Sophie Colwell, and it's a straight swim shootout over 4 laps for the 10 points.
She's gone to the left of the lane to make sure Beth Potter, as she moves up on Beth, doesn't get any of that wash advantage she can possibly get. But Beth Potter's first 100 of these swims are remarkable. Here's Sophie now really opening up that stroke. She'll come off this turn. Big turn here.
Well, if she gets better, the more she swims, she should have just put in 5Ks before we started, because she has just hammered down that first 50 and she's already taken this by the scruff of the neck. Now, let's not forget, or if you're just joining us, Beth Potter took the full 10 points in stage 1. We're saying the winner of the Arena Games comes from who can take the most out of the 30 possible points they can pick up. Potter took 10 from stage 1. Colwell took 9 from stage 1. And Anna Godoy took 5. So she will look like take at least 8. And Potter and Colwell could end up even if it finishes in the way it is now, with about 90 metres left to go. Colwell will end up on 19. Potter will end up on 19. And then it'll be a straight bike swim run for all of the chocolates here in Rotterdam at the Arena Games.
Sophie will take a big glance here as she makes this 3rd turn off the 150 mark. She'll see she's got this under control. She needs to now shut it down as much as she possibly can to get this win and set up for stage 3, because it's going to be a shootout between those 2 on screen.
Oh, I love how it always turns out like this. There's Colwell. She's going to make her 3rd turn, and she's going to have 50 metres, and she's going to pick up the 10.
Godoy's still in 3rd. It's a great second stage from the Spaniard. Very solid. Set it up with a big run. Tagged that group on the bike. Was able to get that gap. And now she can relax that swim. She's got 10 seconds on WAF. Ilaria Zane in 5th. It's a comfortable 3rd position.
There's going to be big movements as well at the end of this, because Colwell's going to pick up the 19, and Potter's going to pick up the 19. But Kingma, who was in 3rd and picked up 8, is currently 9th. So she's going to drop down the leaderboard significantly. There is Colwell, who gets the win in stage 2. She'll go to 19 points and share the lead from Beth Potter, who finished 2.7 seconds back. Anna Godoy jumps up with 8 to add to her 5, so she'll be on 13 points overall. we'll wait and see how everyone else finishes. But it's about who... Yes, it did. That one hurt. Look at the two of them. And I only think that they've got another triathlon to go.
Not as sprightly this stage. That one stung.
Yes, it did. And now they look up and think, now we've got to go back into battle once again. Big breaths, and it's about who can recover. Now, we've analysed the heart rate thanks to Garmin, our partners, and all of our athletes wearing the Forerunner 945, and Potter was the most recovered going into stage 3. Can she do it again? We're going to find out in just a second. All right, we'll go back to the pool deck right now, and Annie Emerson is there to catch some of the fallout.
No hablo inglés. Anna, what a stunning stage that was. Let's keep going to your bike because you want to make up as much time as you can. How does it feel to be up with Beth Potter and Sophie Caldwell in the Arena Games?
Bueno, las sensaciones han sido muy duras porque ir con Sophie y con Beth Potter también ha sido muy motivante, pero bueno, ahora nos falta la última parte, creo que va a ser la más dura porque es cuando estamos más cansados.
I can translate that for you. She said it was very motivational to be up with the likes of Beth Potter and Sophie Caldwell, and very motivated for the next round.
I can't decide whether Annie knows how to speak Spanish or she just made that up.
Grew up in Spain. Grew up in Spain, Annie Emerson. Fluent Spanish.
Well, there you go. Anna Godoy goes to 13 points. This is how it all played out. Of course, we started on the run because of stage 2. And Beth Potter thought she'd move into the lead because that's what she does.
It wasn't for long.
No, it wasn't. She moved past Ilaria Zane for a second before Sophie Caldwell decided that she's the fastest runner in triathlon and just blew past her, and there she is. How good was that?
That was awesome.
Absolutely awesome. There she was going in transition. As I said, she's done a lot of work on her transitions, but Beth Potter is just so fast at getting the shoes in. There is Anna Godoy, who managed to stay on the train moving forward. She hopped off in first position, and the three of them they all arrived at the same time, and Sophie Caldwell took longer in transition, but by the time they got to the 50, she was back in control.
She's got such a powerful swim. She knew she could swim over the top of both those women, but very, very tardy again. I'm not picking on you, Soph, but getting that cap on in the swim has cost you dearly in two Arena Games. We need to fix that.
So there is the result. Sophie Caldwell takes the 10 from Beth Potter. Anna Godoy, Kate Woff and Lisa Turch are your top 5. Zane, Klammer, Beta, Kingma and Scribanja. We'll see the points in just a second. All right, let's have a look back at where we stand at this point. Of course, Sophie Caldwell picks up the full 19. Beth Potter's got 19. Anna Godoy moves up to 13 points from Lisa Turch, who also had a good result there in equal third position. Kate Woff, the third of the Brits. The Brits are having a great day, aren't they? First, second, well, equal first and fifth. Maya Kingma drops down out of the top 5 to 6th position on her own. Scribanja and Klammer, the other two Dutch women, are on 7 points. And then the two Italians who did better in that one are suddenly on 9th and 10th position. And we are back into the racing. This is stage 3. Bike, swim, run, and everything to play for, and some big numbers already being put out wattage-wise in the first part of this 3,000-metre bike. Potter up in the saddle once again, and there's nothing covering this group, and you would expect that. They all started in a bunch together, so there is a chance to be a bit more tactical at this point of the racing, Macca.
Without question. The great thing about the Arena Games, there is no stage that is a conventional triathlon, so it's unique across all 3 disciplines for all the women racing and all the men racing, and this third stage allows all the athletes to get together on the bike. It's very, very hard to break it up. This is where transitions will matter. This is where positioning off this bike is going to be key, and it's all going to be set out for that shootout on the run.
It's really about being smart. Now, when we did Rotterdam the first time in August, there was double draft on, so you could really sit in and be tactical. Now, we've taken it down to even less draft than is normal to encourage more breakaways. But sitting in the pack, and you've raced Zwift before, it's so much easier.
Without question, it's easy. I haven't raced Zwift as much as you will, but I've got on the pack, I've sat on there, I've sat in that group. It's a lot easier. You see that power go down. And if you watch the short shoot show that we did the other day with Tim Don, he talked about that unique experience of racing in these Arena Games on that, where there's a delay in watching that power curve. So suddenly you look up at the screen and you're 2 or 3 meters off the back of the group. So it's this more rev range that you have on this Zwift race than you do in conventional riding.
Just looking at their faces reminds me why I hesitate to get back on the bike. It's very, very painful, this kind of racing. There's nowhere to hide, and we're just as I'm saying that, we're getting messages in. The bike stage has never been this split up. Oh, it has never been split up. We'd expect them all to finish together, and you can see that already. It's 1.5 seconds from Sophie Caldwell in first through to Kate Woff in 10th position. Although, as I say that, Beth Potter looks to force the pace and go off the front about halfway into the stage.
Yeah, isn't it amazing that both Beth Potter and Sophie Caldwell are showing their form? They're still at the front of the group. You think if anyone could take a rest now, they'd sit back in that group and relax, but they're really showing the fitness and the form they have coming into this. They're straight to the front. Beth Potter's made a move, and in blue, it's Anna Godoy who's closed that down and shut that gap along with Rachel Klammer.
So in the other two bikes we've had across the stages, Lisa Church was the quickest in stage 1. She was second quickest in stage 2. Also up there in both stages was Kate Woff, who finished 4th and 1st. Maya Kingma's good on the bike as well, although in the second stage, first stage she was a 4:22, second stage 4:54. She's the athlete who's had the biggest drop-off in pace between the first and second stage. She's there in the purple in the middle of the pack, but you could throw a T-tail over them at the moment, and I would expect it to be the same over the next kilometre, because it's just so much easier to sit in. And Potter going off the front is actually expending significantly more energy than those behind her. So I'm not sure why she's had a go.
She seemed to struggle with her positioning. She was either off the front, we saw back, she was off the back a little bit. She moved straight to the front again. Sophie Caldwell seems to have been sitting mid-pack, a lot more comfortable with finding that power, finding that cadence on the Zwift, and being able to sit in that group and relax and keep that heart rate as low as she possibly can to set up for that swim run.
I absolutely never do a pull at the front of any pack in a Zwift race.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's not a bus. It's not a bus,
It
mate.
is.
It's not a free ride.
It is. It's a bus at which I could stay on for about half the race, and then I have to find the next
Till
bus
someone
coming
throws
through.
you off.
Yep.
Get off, mate.
And then I stop at the station and wait for the next bus to come, and then they drop me as well, and that's how it works. Glamour goes to the front now. Scribandra as well, so the two Dutch women at the front. Ilaria Zane's been fantastic on the bike too, as one of the lightest and smallest athletes. If we were cycling up a hill, she would be at the front, there's no doubt about that. She was great in our e-cycling series when we went to the Bologna course, which is practically vertical, compared to this, which is a crit course and very,
She was
very
amazing. Our championship racing in Malta, she bounced up that.
Yes, that's
Mount
right.
Malta. Very, very good climber. Very good bike rider. It's good to see Rachel Klammer on the front. Up near the front, she's going to be very, very strong. I think she's going to position herself now for the next two disciplines, and we could see her really sneak into the mix.
All right, we hit the cobblestones, which means we're at the end, and they're going to be hopping off the bike. There is the banner at the end, and first off is going to be Maya Kingma. A little bit of a pump up the hill from Ilaria Zane, and they are straight off and around the pool. A swim and a run to decide our Arena Games champion. A reminder of the points as they stand. Sophie Caldwell and Beth Potter. Well, it's a race in two just about between those two if it stays as close as all of this.
Look at Potter move past them in the transition again. She was 10th off the bike, has moved herself up into 5th going into the water.
It just shows you the shorter the triathlon, the bigger the transitional changes. She'll be in the water
Sophie
in the first
struggling
3
again.
or 4. So Potter's in the water. There she is in the middle of your screen. She was 10th off the bike. She's leading.
Yeah, Sophie Caldwell was 3rd, positioned herself perfectly, struggled with that swim cap. Getting that swim cap on, Potter 3 or 4 seconds quicker through transition than Sophie Caldwell, giving herself a lot of work to do, Soph. That's the shootout between the woman in white and the woman in pink to win the race.
The other shootout going on right now is Anna Godoy. There she is on your screen. She was at the top of your screen before. She had a great swim. She was only 4 or 5 seconds off the pace of the swim the first time around. And Lisa Church, the German, who is also on 13 points. And throw into that mix Kate Woff and Maya Kingma, who could also do the job. And there is Kingma in 5th position. But at the moment, Godoy in the box seat to take the 3rd place on the podium. Rachel Klammer surprised me. She's out of form.
Yeah, way out of form. She's had a great set it up on the bike, but way back. We're seeing Sophie Caldwell again. Her swim efficiency come into play, her strength in the water. As you fatigue as an athlete, it becomes more and more difficult to hold that technique in the water, to keep your position. Not so for Sophie Caldwell.
Yeah, so Klammer 10 seconds back now when you consider they've only swum the 100 metres and a 10-second gap, and they all got in the water basically together. And we'll keep checking our timing because we've got Lisa Turch at the top now, although it looks to me as though Caldwell, and now coming off alongside her is Maya Kingma. And then Potter from Godoy.
See Turch in the green. Can't see her.
Can't see it, but what a swim that is from Maya Kingma as well. Obviously, she has a swim background, multiple national champion in the pool and in the open water.
Kingma and Caldwell turn together, Godoy and Potter. Potter's still in there. She's got the big run. Laria Zane in 5th. Turch just dropped off.
This is going to be a foot race between Beth Potter and Sophie Caldwell. And obviously, you know, the transitions don't come into it as much because you're going from the swim onto the bike. You don't have to worry about your pedals or anything like that.
Onto the run now.
Swim onto the right, that's what I meant.
Sophie's brought that 6-speed kick in. She's starting to cook away. She's had a quick glance back to see where Beth was. This transition for Sophie Caldwell is key. She needs to get that treadmill up to speed. She showed she's in good run form. She outran Beth in that last stage. This is the run for her life.
So in the final run in London 3 weeks ago, Potter ran 8 seconds quicker than Caldwell. And it looks as though Caldwell is a lot sharper this time around than she was then.
She's only got 2.84 seconds in front.
And there's a fight as well for 3rd position. Onto the treadmill for the 1K. The 1K shootout to decide who is going to be the champion. Beth Potter did this last time around. She came on 2nd onto the treadmill, and Lucy Charles-Barclay was in front, and she left her for dead. But Sophie Caldwell looks like she is going to be a more difficult proposition.
Now, in that last stage, Sophie ran away from Beth Potter. She let Beth go in that first part of the run and then was able to run over the top of her. Was that a tactical decision by Beth, knowing that this whole day was going to hinge on this last run? Has she saved some energy to open up in this last run section? We're going to see when they go to screen. There's Sophie Caldwell leading the race.
Now 4.7 seconds is the gap between Caldwell and Potter, with Kingma 6.1 seconds back from Caldwell. Godoy, Zane, Turch, Skrabanja, Beto and Woff.
Sophie's running at 17.8 kilometres an hour versus Beth Potter's 17.5. I think Sophie Caldwell's in race-winning headspace.
5 seconds, the current gap. 1.5 seconds further back to Kingma. Now, Kingma could put herself in contention here. Godoy, Turch and Woff are the others that are looking for a potential 3rd place. At the moment, Godoy, if she stays in 4th position, will do that job. But there is the gap between Caldwell and Potter with 600 metres to go. And it looks to me like Sophie Caldwell is going to be your Arena Games champion.
And she's done it with consistency across the 3 disciplines. Her run has been remarkable. Her swim's always exceptional. We always talk about Sophie Caldwell's incredible swim talent, but her run has been the remarkable takeaway from today's racing. She is running away from Beth Potter, the world record holder on the road over 5,000 metres.
Sophie, go find a 5,000 metre road immediately, because you have put now half a second further into Beth Potter, and there is Maya Kingma coming up on Potter.
If you're Maya Kingma and you can run up on the Beth Potter, what a scalp to grab. If you could just move up. You're sitting there saying to yourself, she's running at 16.8 kilometres an hour versus Potter's 17.3.
She's close.
It's close. We're going to run out of real estate.
Yeah, fading off a little bit now, but certainly keeping up with Beth Potter. But it doesn't matter because Sophie Caldwell's going to do the job. There is Potter on the bottom of your screen. Sophie Caldwell is doing the job on Beth Potter that Beth Potter did to Lucy Charles-Barclay 21 days ago. And there you see, as it stands, it's going to be a 1-point victory. It always serves up the absolute classics, the Arena Games. Kingma looks like she's going to take the 8 points, which will take her through to 18. Godoy looks like she's going to take the 7 points, which will put her on 20. So Anna Godoy, the Spaniard, should take 3rd position if it stays as is. She might even move up on Kingma here. But with 200 metres to go, Sophie Caldwell will be your Arena Games champion. We know her bike is good. She was 6th in the Zwift Classics in 2020. She beat some pro cyclists in that racing. Her swim is outstanding, but her run is what has won her the day today.
Very relaxed running. She's really
they all look like that in Zwift.
No, I was just watching her on screen. They do look like that on the Zwift, but I was watching her. You can hear them breathing and hear them making their noises to keep them pushing. Here she runs up to the finish. An unbelievable run by Sophie Caldwell.
Absolutely unbelievable run. 50 metres to go, and Sophie Caldwell is going to steal it from Beth Potter. 29 points to 28. Sophie Caldwell is your champion.
Well done, Sophie.
She looks like she has earned every minute of that. She looked like that after stage 2. It hasn't gotten any better this time, but she has dug deep and she has won it.
That hurt.
Wow. Potter comes second. Good performance from her. Oh, just looking at the pain just makes me happy to be sitting here with some chocolate in front of me. Anna Godoy and Maya Kingma, well, they finish very, very close together.
Lisa Turch had her best stage there, the 5th place finish, much closer than the other stages.
They're all sitting on the end of their air runners, and there is the woman that's been dethroned, and there is the woman that has done the dethroning. We're going to go down to Annie Emerson right now. Let's not give Sophie any more time to catch her breath. Annie?
Wow, Sophie, you are the Arena Games Rotterdam champion. What are your thoughts right now?
Oh, my legs are like jelly. That's my first thought. No, I'm really pleased. I felt like I made some silly mistakes in London, so yeah, to come here and get back on top of it, and yeah, I feel like I could really push was so nice. Yeah, I've missed that feeling for a long time.
And how does it feel to beat Beth Potter, who is absolutely on fire at the moment?
Yeah, she is on fire, but it's not really about beating other people, it's just about being the best that you can be. And I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in like what other people are doing and like what they're doing on Strava or training and stuff like that, and sometimes you think you've just got to focus on you, and yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Congratulations. We'll see you on the podium, Sophie.
Thank you.
So let's look back at how it all played out across that stage. And of course, they started on the bike this time around, which means that some tactics came into it. And to be fair, Sophie sat on the back of that group a little bit more than Beth Potter did, and it really paid off in the end. They all came off together, of course, and transitions came into it, as they do.
Yeah, Beth Potter moved right up in transition. You see on screen, she went from 10th off that bike to get into the water 5th. Sophie tardy again into the water, but her big swim power was able to swim over the top of all the women and set herself up for a big run.
All right, and then they went into the water, and again, Colwell was a little tardy. And then they came back onto the run to find a little quicker for Sophie Colwell, and she started quickly and she finished quickly as well. She started about 5 seconds ahead, she maintained that.
And looked very, very relaxed that entire run, very comfortable.
And there was the winner. Sophie Colwell brings it back to Great Britain. Let's take a look now at the final standings, and Sophie Colwell with a 9-10-10 finishes second, first, as opposed to first, second to Beth Potter. Dominant, the two Brits. Anna Godoy picks up a 3rd place in the second 2 stages. Lisa Turch comes back to triathlon after, as you said, 3 years at Harvard. Can't believe that, makes me feel terrible. Picks up 19 points. Maya Kingma comes back to Super League and picks up 17. Kate Woff, 14. The 2 Italians, Zane and Beto, and then Rachel Klammer and Rani Scrivanger. So Klammer can be a little disappointed with that. She's normally very, very consistent, but she wasn't quite there today. Instead, it was Colwell, Potter, and Godoy, and we're going to have our presentation in just a second. Wow, got to catch the breath. Anyway, let's go right now.
3rd place, Anna Godoy. 2nd place, Beth Potter. And the winner, Sophie Colwell. Give a big hand for those great athletes.
Absolutely nailed that. How are you feeling now? You've had a minute or two to take it all in. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm so happy. I've not won a race for quite some time, so yeah, it's really nice to come out on top in what's been an odd 18 months.
You had some pretty stiff competition, you really did. But beating Beth Potter, wow. I mean, she's absolutely on fire, but you nailed the transitions.
She still got me on transitions, that's for sure. She's so quick, so I was just trying to gauge it in the swim really, because I knew that was really where I was going to make my time up. So I felt like I judged it a lot better, and yeah, it's just one race, so we've got a whole season to go.
Let's just talk about that run as well. We know you're quick over the shorter distances, but to run a 3:0:12 in the first kilometre, in the first stage, what does that mean to you to see that run improvement?
Yeah, I've really been working on my run over the winter, and it's been probably the longest I've been consistent, touch wood. So it's just nice to kind of reap the rewards of that a bit, and hopefully it'll pull me through the rest of the year.
And for anyone who's not raced the Arena Games, sum it up for us.
It's pretty hard. You don't have any time to think. You're trying to just get the part that you're doing and then think ahead, but you really don't have time. And then once the lactate hits, you're in a world of pain.
Massive congratulations.
Thank you,
Sophie.
Thanks.
Well, there you go. Sophie Caldwell does the job, and she does it by virtue of being incredibly consistent. And as we now count down to the men's race, we just got to take a beat after that. That was fantastic.
That was fast. You forget how fast they are.
All right, we're going to go down to Annie right now, who has Richard Murray with the wash-up.
Richard, you are very familiar with racing here in Rotterdam. You raced here last year. What are your initial thoughts on the women's race?
Wow, the women's race. I mean, Beth Potter, Sophie Caldwell, it was like head-to-head. It was amazing. I saw quite a few interesting things out there today, definitely, and yeah, keen to give information on that.
Okay, tell us what you saw. I think initially the jumping on the waiting on the treadmill, the standing on the treadmill, that's pretty tough for the athletes, and that's new here at Arena Games.
Yeah, standing a stationary start on the treadmill was something completely different. I saw the treadmills were wet as well, so they were slipping a little bit, which was also quite a different dynamic to it. And on the bike, starting stationary on the bike, it looked really, really hard, definitely.
And the pool, I think that's where Sophie really nailed it. She's able to keep that pace and get quicker throughout the stages in the water.
Definitely. I mean, Sophie Caldwell's, her consistency in the swim is, you can look at the swim splits, probably very similar each swim, and I think that really, really helps in this format to be really consistent in the swim and all your transitions.
Very impressive to see the young Spanish athlete, Ana Godoy, as well, getting third overall.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's definitely the first time, I think, on a Super League podium in her career. So definitely a great moment for her and Spain. And definitely, yeah, I did not pick her in the top three. So yeah, definitely massive performance from her.
Are you missing racing this weekend, Richard?
I'm missing it a little bit. It's very weird training next to my compatriots. But yeah, no racing for me just yet. I'm kind of focusing on the Olympics and yeah, training for that.
At the end of the day, an incredibly close race as well, though, between Beth and Sophie, wasn't it?
Definitely. It was extremely, extremely close race. I think that's what we love to see at Super League. We love to see people competing against each other to the line, and that's what makes racing, racing.
Well done. Thanks for those insights, Richard.
Cool. Cheers.
Probably the only man who could pull off having a backwards hat on a Super League telecast. If I did that, I'd get laughed out of town. Anyway, Arena Games is just the start of what Super League Triathlon has in store for 2021 as the men warm up. And all that will be revealed, what happens in 21, very, very soon. That's right, the announcement of 2021 championship season will be on the 5th of May. More details online and on Super League Triathlon social channels. Can you wait for that? You know the answers to this question.
I can't wait. I know that. I know where we're going. It's going to be remarkable. It's going to be fantastic just to get back to our championship racing. It's the physicality of it, seeing the French back racing with Vincent Louis again. It's going to be very, very exciting. It's also, the announcement is on my son's birthday, 5th of May.
We did that on purpose,
yes,
obviously.
so it's a very, very exciting day.
Happy birthday, Finn. Now, obviously we're going to some new places, but right now, that is Iona Schoenberg on screen after leading for pretty much 98% of the opening Arena Games in Rotterdam last year. He was pipped at the post and didn't have his best day in London 3 weeks ago either. The lanky German, he's been training hard ahead of this one, and Super League caught up with him.
I'm Iona Schoenberg and I'm a professional triathlete. Every day I'm driven by my passion to get better than the day before. My philosophy of the life is having fun and enjoy it. If you're not happy, it's not the right for you, so happiness is key. It's hard to describe myself. as an athlete. But I'm always like having fun on the races. I try to play with my tactics. Normally I'm not a morning person, so I try to prepare my training sessions, starting with a run with the coffee and a stretch. First 15 minutes is normally pretty easy, and then we start with the sessions. You can call it the flow when it's like passing everything and it's really easy. You feel like I'm running on clouds. That's a super feeling. The swimming is probably one of my strengths, especially the start. I've got the speed, I'm tall, long arms. The bike training is actually my favorite part of the training. I love riding my bike, especially here in Girona. I think the roads are amazing, love the mountains, and I can ride every day. I love going hard on the bike, trying something, doing the breakaway, and it's like in the flow, just amazing feeling. Preparation is key for the Super League to be successful. The speed, the fitness, and everything comes together, the transitions. It's a bit different than normal racing and triathlon, like the Olympic distance. Super League is super fun to watch because it's fun, fast racing, and it's super hard. You can see all the emotions in the faces.
Look at the face of Iona Schoenberg as he puts up 300 to 400 watts.
I think everyone loves Super League.
One of the great stories of Super League racing, Iona Schoenberg. I mean, he turned up, I remember a few years ago, just asking for a spot and had to earn it, didn't he?
He turned up in Jersey, asked for a start. We said we couldn't. He had to go qualify. That he did in Poland, grabbed his position, and has been a real standout in all our Super League racing.
Yeah, he finished mid-pack in London 3 weeks ago, and after being so good in Rotterdam last August, he'd probably be a little disappointed with that. I mean, He's obviously the leading short course German after his Tokyo breakaway, and he loves a breakaway, qualified 9th, and I guess we're heading down right now to Martin van Riel, who everyone will be chasing.
Martin, you're here as the reigning Arena Games London champion. How does that feel? And you're on home soil. Are you feeling the pressure?
Yeah, I feel a little bit of pressure this time. I think I built it up myself by having a really good performance in London, but yeah, I'm confident to try and back it up today, but there is a lot of good opponents here as well, so it's going to be a good battle.
What did you learn from London that you're going to bring to this race?
I think I learned again how to really suffer and how to really tolerate a lot of pain, because yeah, it was one of the most painful things I've ever done.
Great stuff, Martin. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
He was wearing the green back then, he's wearing the leader's pink right now, and he's right in that he learned how to tolerate pain, but he did it in such a consistent fashion. He was the only man that finished in the top 3 in every stage, and he really managed his efforts throughout.
And he nailed his transitions, but as you said, he was magnificent at the swimming, biking, running. He was right in that, even across those 3 disciplines, and that's how you win Arena Games racing.
And there is Alex G, who'll be leading the Team GB charge. Fastest runner in triathlon. This guy can motor, can't he?
Oh, he's one of the fastest runners in the world, at full stop. A remarkable talent coming out of that English high performance program. It's amazing what they're doing up there in the UK.
So a 2:51 was the fastest run time that was handed out in London. We've seen the women. Sophie Colwell did a 3:06, which is 20-odd seconds faster than before. Can he beat that? We're going to go down to Annie right now.
Alex, 3rd in London. What can you do here in Rotterdam to go better?
I think I'm just going to try and execute the best race I physically can, and that's the best I can do. And I think for me, I sometimes worry externally about what's going on, but today I'm going to try and just focus on myself and do the best I can. Quick thoughts on the competition that you have here today? Yeah, there's loads of great guys here, and there always is going to be on these start lines of Super League. It's the best athletes in the world racing here, so I'm really excited. Tough racing though, isn't it? How are you going to deal with the heat here? I'm just going to just try and splurge all my effort, well, not evenly, but quite as effectively as I can over the 30 minutes, so I don't kind of overcook myself or stuff like that, and we'll just see what happens. I'm really excited.
Who do you think is going to be the one to beat here in Rotterdam today?
It's so hard to say. I think all 10 guys have a chance of winning, and that's why it's exciting. We're all on the start line with the same opportunity, so see what happens.
Great stuff, Alex. Thanks very much.
Great, thanks very much.
So it's time to get it underway. The men's have seen the women race. They've seen how fast they were, and the same format for them. Start with the swim and end with 3-kilometre bike this time for stage 1. Then stage 2, we start with the run and finish with the swim. And then we start on the bike and we run it home in stage 3. Every single stage is worth 10 points. Finish 10th, you pick up 1. Accumulate the most points and you will be the Super League Triathlon Arena Games winner. Macca, who's your favourite for this one?
Look, Martin Van Riel, very, very difficult to go past. Vasco Valasa, remarkable here. But this swim pace in this, when you glance down this list of athletes racing, the swim power here is out of control. I see the fastest 200 swim we're ever going to see in the Arena Games in this race right now.
I want to see a better performance from Vasco Valasa, who, of course, has been coming on in leaps and bounds in recent times. Who else can we pull out? Daniel Beckergaard from Denmark, 20 national championship medals in swimming as a junior. We will see him as an elite as well. There's so much swimming power. That's exactly right. We're not too long now until the men's. It's going to be a very, very big one. Welcome to Rotterdam here in the Netherlands for the very first Super League Triathlon Arena Games. Javier Gomez, Jonathan Brownlee, Jonas Schoenberg, such a lot of triathlon talent, and it's about to get underway. Here goes the first men's racing in the Super League Triathlon Arena Games. This truly is groundbreaking stuff, moving between real and virtual racing. Our last stage is the run, the swim and the bike, and we are off in the world of Zwift. And we now have one 4-kilometre bike to finish this thing off. It's down to 4 seconds now between Schoenberg and Nieschlag. Here is the sprint from the end, and Nieschlag is taking the win. Schoenberg has been pipped at the post. Wow.
We start with a walk-off.
It is time for the men's here at the Super League Triathlon Arena Games. In the back of your screen, there in the pink, is Martin Van Riel. Used to see Vincent Lewis in the pink. There is Aurélien Raphael, the Frenchman, one of 2 new faces. In fact, we broke 6 men in London. They have not come back, and we have 6 new faces for this one. It's going to be really, really interesting racing. There is Alex Yee in the red. We just heard from him before the break. The man they're chasing, Martin Van Riel, as well. And I think that's Vasco Valasa in the black, is it? Yes, it is. He needs to do better this time around.
He proves in his opening races in Rotterdam and in London, he's right there. In London, he dropped off. In Rotterdam, he dominated. It's a course he likes. Hopefully, he's got some more form from 3 weeks ago.
Anthony Poujard in the purple. Never raced Arena Games. He was tipped by Tim Don on the Short Shoot Triathlon podcast.
He's do very, very well.
Yeah, well, the French are very good at their fast and furious racing. We saw Daniel Beckergaard just there. Marco van der Stel, who finished 10th last time around, the local hope from the Netherlands. And there is Felix Duchamp, who comes in late on, part of the Phoenix Foundation, and he now races for Romania, but he's a Frenchman as well.
Be interesting to see the swim power. Raphael and Poujard in the middle. Martin Van Riel right there, Vasco Valasa, Jonas Schoenberg. Alex Yee could get isolated in his swim if he doesn't get a good start. There is so much swimming talent here, it's going to be fast.
Yeah, I like Beckergaard for this one. Look out for Aurélien Raphael in the swim too. He's been around for, well, 15 years, which is, some of these guys are only about 3 or 4 years old when he was around. Alois Nabel, he was here last year as well, so he's had a taste of it. But in the middle, Yee, Van Riel and Valasa and Schoenberg, they're your 4 athletes who were racing in London, and the rest are all new faces. So we'll see whether they have learnt from their experiences, where they have picked up those little 1%ers, and if they are ready to do this once again. So Valasa, he needs to race smarter because he had the fastest bike time. He won stage 1, but he dropped off really, really badly in stage 2. We know he's capable of more. He's going to be there or thereabouts. Van Riel, there he is actually, Velasa on screen. I like the black.
Yeah, he looks good on him. His opening swim is always very, very good. He needs to get out fast. Beckengold swims very, very quick. He's been doing Ironman races. Good to see him back in the short course events. He had some issues with his federation and made him move across to Ironman. I think he left short course racing too early, and he's got a point to prove here today, and it's all going to start here with his first 200-metre swim.
This is a guy that won a 70.3 in Finland with a 1:13 half marathon, and then 9 days later won Ironman Austria with a 2:53 marathon. And he's still so strong at the short course stuff. Duchamp the last onto the blocks, and we're about to get underway with the first stage of the men's arena games. And they are into the water at the Arena Games here in Rotterdam. Swim, run and bike in stage one. The pace always fast and furious, but this is not where it's won. This is where you need to save a little bit and make sure you're there when you get into the world of Zwift, especially on the bike, which comes last in the opening stage. You need to be in the right position.
Jardis in the purple on the left of the screen. Looks like he's going to turn close to first.
It's very close though, isn't it?
Schoenberg in the white. Very, very strong. Vasco Velasa just off the back, but close enough.
Some of these guys are just not even really... Well, it depends. If you do a lot of open water swimming, you can really get time put into you on the turns if you're up against guys that swim a lot in the pool or grow up swimming, and they're off the shoulder of...
It's Pujardis in the purple,
yeah,
and that's Beckengold. Right there. Magic swimmer. He's sitting right on that lane rope, getting the wash off the Frenchman. Good turn.
Yeah, he looks like he's doing it easy
Raphael
too.
leading from Nabel, Jardis, Schoenberg, Beckengold.
Not much between them all though.
Van Riel at 2 seconds after 100 with Alex G. Alex G getting isolated there. That's a very, very dangerous spot for Alex to be in.
But how good is the swimming talent? There in lane 2 at the top of your screen. That's Aurelian Raphael.
In the whitish, in the grey, it's Raphael.
Former junior world champion, we could say about Raphael, but that was so long ago. Yeah. He's been around for such a long time. Multiple European Cup golds. He's, of course, swum Super League, or he's raced Super League before as well. And now you can see the times really splitting up. Alex G, now nearly 8.5 seconds back. Felix Duchamp, now he's nearly 12 seconds back.
Clock.
And Raphael's pulling 30-second 50s.
This is going to be a sub 2 minute 200 here. Look at the clock, 1:53, 54. Massive swimming.
Yes, that is a massive swim. There he is on the right of your screen. Yeah, he's nearly pulled a 2 minute 200. And there he is, clocking in at 2:02.57. And out they get and onto the run.
Two French and the Germans all over it. Now, transitions matter. This is where the lactate stings after the swim. You've got to get up, transition quickly. It's all in transition to win arena games racing.
Oh, all that nervous energy from the beginning, it's all gone after 200 metres in the water, and you're just trying to catch up to life now. And off he goes first. He did well there. I liked how he leant forward on the air runner and really used 2 or 3 really swift pushes to get that treadmill turning, because obviously it's a self-powered treadmill, completely different to your regular treadmill. It only goes as fast as you push it. And Aurelian Raphael right now, early doors, is pushing 20.5 kilometres an hour as they all hop on.
Interesting to see Vasco Velasa, who's a magnificent runner, see if he can move up and start to apply some pressure here on this treadmill. Running off the front, it's still Pujard. It's Aurelian Raphael
and Pujard.
Pujard, the Frenchman.
Schoenberg off his shoulder there. Schoenberg off the shoulder of Pujard. Van Riel is 4.1 seconds adrift. And then just behind him is Velasa, Nabel. Beckengold, who had a good swim, is nearly 10 seconds back with Yi, with Duchamp at 14 seconds.
Beckengold tardy transition has cost him into going into this run. One thing about the French, they do this hyper sprint racing as part of the French Grand Prix, and they're very, very quick across the 3 disciplines. The shorter those disciplines get, it really plays into the advantage, and they're all over the front of this race with Schoenberg splitting them.
But there's not much. So when you look at a guy like Beckengold, he's out there with Ironman and running 70.3 racing, etc. And as opposed to guys like Raphael and Pujard, who do a lot of short course racing, they just got those seconds in transition because they're just used to doing it.
They're so used to it. And the thing with Raphael and Pujard, they're fighting for an Olympic selection with the French team, because that French depth, like the UK depth, is remarkable. It's so strong. Vincent Louis, the current world champion. You've got Leo Bergier, you see in Super League racing. They're all vying for those 2 spots on that French team.
Those guys, I mean, do you think it's Bergier and Lewis will take those 2 spots?
Well, you'd think so, but, you know, you've got so much depth. You've got to look at that mixed relay. You get on that team, you're looking for an Olympic gold medal in the mixed relay. The French are the overwhelming favourites to pick up that gold medal in Tokyo.
Well, they're doing the job here, although Poujard has dropped back to 4th position and Van Riel has pushed up into 3rd. Schoenberg ahead of him and 4 seconds covering the top 4. Now they're going to get onto the bike after this, and that's a really important transition. I think the run to the bike is a tough one when you've spiked your heart rate early on and you're at the back end of stage 1. You've got to get that transition correct, and there are the gaps as they stand. 2.5 seconds between Raphael and Schoenberg.
Well, Raphael off the front is in sort of no man's land, because getting onto the bike, that group of 4 behind her within 1 second, they'll close that gap very, very quickly. Oh, there's a broken treadmill.
There's a broken treadmill, and that really hurts for Marco van der Stel, the only home hope. Came 10th last time in Rotterdam. He was born in Rotterdam. He is truly local, and it looks like he's had a mechanical. And when it comes to Arena Games, a broken treadmill is a mechanical.
You're out. You can't run.
That is done. You are done. Your day is over. So unfortunate for Marco van der Stel and for the Dutch fans watching. We feel for you.
Coming off the run now, Raphael needs to bring this, get through transition here and try and drag these 3 with him on the bike to keep that gap from behind. Alex Yee has had a magnificent run to close that gap he lost in the swim.
So I think Raphael, just judging by the way he did that, it was very calm and controlled, and he knows that there's going to be a big bunch here.
Oh, this is going to be a big bunch.
Just like there was at the end of stage 1 last time, and the man who timed his sprint correctly was Vasco Velasa, wearing that beret when he was in the blue, and there was a big bunch sprint at the end of stage 1. So hopefully we stay in the world of Zwift for the end of stage 1 this time around, if there is indeed a bunch sprint, which it looks like there is going to be.
We need to see where Velasa is. As you said, he's tactically very, very smart in this arena game. He's tactically smart in championship racing as well, but he positions himself well. He gets the timing of that sprint perfectly. It's not about how much power you can put out, it's putting out that power at the right time, and Vasco Velasa nails it every single time he races.
So Schoenberg and Poujard are right together on this one. In fact, within 0.7 of a second is Schoenberg, Poujard, Yee, Velasa, and Van Riel. Then a little bit back is Aurelien Raphael, although he'll try and tag onto the back of this group. Yep, he's there as well. And it is a group of 6. Nabel off the back, Duchamp. Daniel Beckergaard has dropped right off. He's 26 seconds adrift, and Marco van der Stel obviously has had a mechanical. So we've got a group of 6 with about 2.3 kilometres to go.
It's an uphill finish. Alex Yee is half a shot in this. His power to weight is fantastic. He's going to be a lot stronger up this climb than a Schoenberg, and his marked man is Vasco Velasa, who will nail this perfectly, along with Martin Van Riel.
The last time this group was in a bunch sprint for all the chocolates, and it was Velasa who was in a bunch sprint with Javier Gomez in August last time, and he pushed 800, I think 900 watts for the last 30 seconds average. And Jonas Schoenberg, who was there and who was sprinting as well, was about 500. So and he was in a bunch for the win with Justus Nieschlag, if you remember.
That's right, I do.
And Nieschlag was running 800 watts to Schoenberg's 500, and that's when Nieschlag stole it in the last dying seconds after Schoenberg had led the entire race. So Schoenberg, does he have that 20-second or 10-second power, and does he know exactly how to time it?
Yeah,
he's back in this again.
That's the key, is the timing of that power. He's got it, but if he gets it wrong when he wants to execute it, when he wants to lay that out, he gets it wrong by 10 or 15 metres, you go from 1st to 5th in an instant.
Yeah, you got to stay back and you got to wait. You're going to not burst too quickly, and this time it's uphill as well. So off the front there at the moment is Poujard, but obviously swapping spots, Aurelien Raphael, Vasco Velasa, Jonas Schoenberg, Alex Yee, Martin Van Riel.
He's been smart, Martin, sitting on the back, timing that. It's an uphill finish, as you said, 400-metre climb up on the cobbles. You're going to go top to bottom and put out as much power as you possibly can.
Look at Van Riel. He looks like he's just having a little dance to the music going on there in the background. He gets up in the saddle now, takes a little pull off the front. There's no point in doing that, though. There's a big gap back to everybody else. It's going to be this group of 6 no matter where you sit. So there, he drops back to the back once again, under the kilometre to go now. As soon as you see the cobblestones, you know we're right in the jaws of it.
I think think Alex G might do very, very well here. He's made up that gap on the run, closed that loss, that swim loss, that margin of error he lost in the swim. He's closed that down. He's sitting comfortably in the bike. He has great power to weight on this climb. He looks comfortable, breathing very, very controlled. He's watching the screen, knowing where the other athletes are, and he's going to time this sprint as Iona Schoenberg has a glance across to his left. Sees what Pujard's doing.
All right, 500 metres to go.
Schoenberg's in the worst spot leading into a sprint. He's on the front as they all move past Van Riel. Schoenberg's now at the back.
I think Velasa and Van Riel are the pack of your tactical riders, but you're right, Alex Yee, who is fresh off the back of running a 2:42 for the run. 2:51 was the record before. He also said it as we hit the cobblestones. 200 metres to go, and it is anyone's. And don't forget, you're going from 10 points all the way down to 5 points here, so it's won and lost in the next 100 metres. And look at the numbers being pushed in the wattage on the right of your screen. Velasa's gone early, and coming to steal it though is Van Riel.
Great timing by Martin Van Riel.
Van Riel does the job. 0.1 of a second back to Velasa. Yee gets third place. Raphael back half a second. Schoenberg and then Pujard. And Duchamp will take 7th after a slow start. He's come back well. Nabel and then Beckergaard, and Van der Stel is the man who is out of this race, but Velasa went early this time.
He did. He's flushing the legs too. He's the only one staying on the bike getting that lactate, and he went too early. I think he had it time. He just got pipped. Van Riel saw him go, came over the top of Alex Yee, who was his lead-out man. Not deliberately, he was able to get that whirl and make the jump across to Velasa and take out that win.
3 minutes before the start of the next wave.
There you go, Martin Van Riel. He timed it well. We said he was tactically good, and he is going to be attacked right now by Annie Emerson.
Martin, you've picked up where you left off in London, winning the first stage here, but how hard is that last 100 metres on the bike?
Oh, it's really hard, and with the change of course now, finishing up on the hill, it makes it even harder, but a lot of fun also. I'm more of a climber, so I really liked it.
The French boys took out the swim really hard. Were you expecting that?
Yeah, they're known for their strong swim, but they were actually really strong throughout the whole discipline, so I'm a bit scared for the next round, but yeah, first round went good.
Great stuff. We'll let you go and get ready.
Thank you.
Well, it's a bit of a worry for everyone else that he looks pretty relaxed. His heart rate's always very, very low. In fact, his highest heart rate for the entire thing last time around was lower than everyone else's average heart rate.
Oh, that's right. Who was 205?
Gordon Benson.
That's
he
right.
might not be alive anymore. I'm not sure. It was 209 he got up to. I'm worried for Gordon Benson. Anyway, this is the story of how it played out. And as Martin Van Riel said, very strong swim from the Frenchman, but very strong across the board. And off came Pujard, off came Raphael. You can see there on his screen right now.
Alex Yee broke that 1K record of Super League in that run there, 2:41.
2:42 it was, yes, indeed, as they got onto the bike to finish it up. And in the end, it was Martin Van Riel who did the job. But in fact, not only did Alex Yee beat the record for the run, the top 8 men on the run beat the previous record. How fast it is and how higher the bar can be set, that is the question. But the tactics got Martin Van Riel the win in the end by 0.1 of a second from Vasco Velasa. Alex Yee, Aurelien Raphael, they were all within half a second, but you can see the points are so key. Iona Schoenberg, 6 points. Pujard got the 5, and then it was a big gap back to Duchamp, Alois Nabel, Daniel Beckergaard, and it's unfortunate for Marco van der Stel. All right, the man who is setting the pace once again, Van Riel's the only man setting his stuff up now for the second stage, which is a run, bike, swim. Just getting a little run in because he hasn't had enough running around. There you go, 1 kilometre run followed by the 3,046, very specific distance, meters on the bike, and then a 200-metre swim to finish it off. And I already feel like this is going to end up with a classic finish again.
This has got to be the most difficult of the 2 stages. Finishing with a swim when you've got that much lactate running through the body is so hard because your head's underwater. You just want to suck oxygen in and you can't get it. It's the toughest of the 3 stages. Vasco Velasa needs to stay close.
Here we go, stage 2. And we're underway, the run, the bike and the swim. Currently, Martin van Riel on 10 points, Vasco Valasa 9 and Alex Yee 8 are your top 3 place getters. Of course, another 10 points on the line this time around. Entirely different race, stage 2 to stage 1. There's going to be, you've really got to start fast and maintain momentum throughout, because you're going from the run to the bike. That is a key transition. Yeah, the transitions are key. Alex G needs to open up that stride. He's doing that. He needs to push the pace as quickly as he possibly can. He got isolated in that first swim. He's not an effective, tired swimmer. He needs a margin of error in this, and he's the one setting the tempo up front with Orion Raphael, who can swim. The other man who needs to have a good result in this one, otherwise he's going to fall off, is Iona Schoenberg. Now, he finished 0.8 of a second in arrears over that lung-busting 10 or so minutes. But he is on 6 points now to Van Riel's 10 and Vasco Valasa's 9. And to make that back is incredibly hard. And there is your group in the middle who are in the lead. In fact, they are your 4. Raphael, Yee, Schoenberg, Van Riel. And again, Valasa, who, same thing happened in London. His second stage, he found himself drifting back. He's usually a fantastic runner. He did that in Rotterdam, the first ever Arena Games. He was consistent across the 3 stages. Right up near the front, drifting back at 2 seconds. He doesn't want to let that gap open up anymore, and it's Alex Yee on the front who's applying a lot of pressure. You can see, though, on that shot where you can see all of them together, Valasa is significantly shorter than most of the other athletes. Alex Yee's not the tall guy either. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, but he's built like a runner. Yeah. Valasa looks like he could run through a brick wall. Yeah, he does. You're right. But Alex Yee's out the front. You don't need to run through any brick walls out here in Zwift. You just need to run like the wind, and he's doing that. And at 20.6 kilometres an hour, he's actually pushing the gap out a little bit more. You can see the splits just widening. He really bit by bit. He has to, because Orion Raphael, Martin van Riel and Iona Schoenberg are remarkable swimmers, probably the best 3 swimmers in the field. And with this finishing with a swim, he needs to keep that pace, take some sting out of those arms to give himself every advantage to close down on some of those points he lost in that opening stage. Van Riel, you can already feel this race shaping up into Van Riel's pocket. Just sits. He's done the job. He's got the 10 points. He's sitting. He's got a weird blue hat on in the run. I don't know how I feel about that. But apart from that, he's sitting pretty, because who he's got in front of him is Aurelian Raphael. He's got 3-point gap on Raphael already. And then behind him is Schoenberg, of which he's got a 4-point gap. And Yee, obviously, he's got a 2-point gap. He just needs to stay with these guys, and already the field's stretching out considerably. Well, they can let Yee go, because the 3 of them will close that down in the bike. So something's happened to Felix Deschamps. He's running at 7.1 kilometres an hour. Yeah. So something's happened there. Maybe we'll get a shot, a real-life shot soon. Did he get Marco van der Stel's treadmill from the last race? Potentially. Not sure there, but van der Stel's back in it, so they've fixed it for him. He's taken the 1 point, and he's back in it, and Deschamps has stopped running. So we'll find out about that in a second. Alex Yee is getting off the treadmill right now. Yeah, at the top of your screen, you can see Deschamps on the left. He's just jogging, so hopefully he's on an injury. Yeah. It looks like it could be, but onto the bike goes Alex Yee. He's all in red. That was a good, smooth transition for Alex Yee. Able to get the tempo up, and Martin van Riel really, really trying to close that down. It's very, very tight racing between those 4. Good news, it's not an injury to Deschamps. I'm hearing that it's a technical as well. But he was putting out 5.4 watts a kilo to Van Riel's 4.6 on the last bike, so he was in it. He had made up a ton of room. So no shoes on for Martin van Riel. He's just getting straight into it. 3 kilometres, no need to put the shoes on? Well, obviously not. He's with an uphill finish, you don't need the grind, but I'd be hoping to. I'd like to have them on. I can over the top of that technique. Yeah, but you can see in transition, you know, people lose it in transition. Yeah. You don't get the straps right, you're done. Yeah, without question. So maybe that's the question. I mean, also we're seeing the same thing happening there from a few of our athletes. Alex Yee still off the front. It's great racing from Alex. He set it up with the run. He stayed away. He's at 3 seconds over Martin van Riel. Schoenberg sitting there with him, and Valasa's there. They've got a group of 4 behind them with Raphael in that group. It's whether they can work together and close Alex down. They know they've got the big swim, but at 3 seconds, Alex Yee's still in this to win this stage. If it was to stay the same going into the water, I don't think it will. I think they're going to close that gap. Well, the amount of matches he would have to burn to stay away for the next 2Ks when you've got a group of 5 guys right behind you like that, it's not even worth doing. That group's organised now. They're closing. And they've swallowed him already. Yeah. Once they get organised, he's not staying away. And it's Martin van Riel who has closed that gap with Schoenberg, Orion Raphael. So those runs, again, a 2:42 for Alex Yee. The same as the last time around.
Martin Van Riel,
2:45 for Van Riel, a 2:46 for Schoenberg and for Raphael. Huge running. Let's remember that the last time is exactly the same course. They're on a treadmill. The fastest time was 2:51 from Alex Yee, and we thought that was outstanding, and everyone's going underneath it, all the way to Pujard, who ran a 2:50 and finished 9th. So that just shows you the trim that these guys are in as we move towards Tokyo and what they've learnt as well. As Schoenberg now looks like to do what he does and tries to go off the front and gets immediately caught by Pujard, Van Riel and Raphael. He loves a breakaway even when there's no point to one. He's 1.6 seconds, now 1.8 to the clear.
He's committed, Jonas. He knows he has a big swim. He has to get off this bike, open up with a fast transition. He's committing on the front. Look at his face. He's committed and he's having a crack.
And why not? 1.8 seconds to the good. 1.4 kilometres to go, and then they're into the swim for the end of the second stage. And Schoenberg knows he needs to win this stage. If he's going to be in with a chance, he needs to take the full 10 and also hope that Van Riel has Yee and Raphael and as many people as possible put between him and the front.
I don't know if this is the smartest move by Jonas Schoenberg. It's too far out. We've got a 300-metre climb up over the cobbles to get off this bike. He's committing a lot of power early. We're still a K from the bike exit. The athletes are only, the group behind is only at 1 second. You're burning a lot of matches here going into a swim with...
And now he's going to be swallowed again.
Yeah. When you've got a big swim like Jonas Schoenberg, you play safe on the bike. You use that energy at the right time and focus on that transition off the bike. Position yourself to get off quickly.
We heard him say it. We heard him say it in the package before. He loves a breakaway. He does. He loves to play with his tactics.
That's what we like about his racing.
Yes.
I enjoy watching that style of racing. I'd just like to see him walk away with a gold medal. He really works hard. He deserves one. And I just think sometimes his tactics, he throws caution to the wind, and it bites him a few times.
Yeah. Whereas Van Riel, well, he eventually got into at least one of his shoes, and now he's back off again, or he was just doing some maintenance down there as he went along. But when you look at the face on Jonas Schoenberg versus the face on Martin Van Riel, I know who I'd have my money on to win this overall.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could see one of the French take this with Orion Raphael, such a big swimmer, and fatigue swimming, as I keep saying, I want to harp on it. It is so much more difficult than diving in a swimming pool with fresh arms. The lactic's running through the body, the legs sting, you sink, you have to hold good form, and you have to have good technique to swim quick. And it's those swimmers that grow up in the swimming pool that shine.
So Raphael, as the heaviest athlete out of the group, started well at the bottom of the cobbles. He's dropped to the back of the group now, but it won't matter. They all cross the line at the same time. And what is going to be important is this transition, and knowing, as you say, that Aurelien Raphael, well, he put in a 2:02.200 to start. Can he do the same thing
Riel's gone
again?
Straight around him. Alex Yee is as well. Schoenberg sitting in fourth. And Vasco Valasa in the black. It's going to be a big swim from Vasco. If you put them in talent order in the pool, Yee is the weakest with Valasa, who's both of them exceptional swimmers, and they're swimming against three of the hottest swimmers in triathlon in the world at the moment.
Van Riel had an excellent transition. He's way ahead of Alex Yee. And they came at the same time, and Raphael had the slowest out of all. So I think he had a bit of a problem there with his goggles and cap. He's on the far right of your screen. Can he mow the rest of them down? That is a big, big question, because there are some quality swimmers in this field. Pujard didn't look great running around the pool, looked a bit loose, already moves up into second position behind Van Riel.
You're not going to catch Martin from here. Pujard is the only one who's got the capabilities of doing it. Raphael's transition was terrible. Terrible.
Really bad. Like that pretty much put him out of it. Like that was probably a 10 seconds, well, not 10, maybe 8 seconds that he lost in transition there. They must have had some kind of an issue. Pujard is not going to figure at the pointy end of things. He's currently in sixth position.
Van Riel, though. He's moving up onto Van Riel, which means it's all going to be in this turn. If Schoenberg can follow Pujard up and can start to encroach on Van Riel, giving himself a chance to win this. Martin Van Riel at 1:14 in front of Pujard. It's still enough.
Van Riel has got this by the scruff of the neck, though. When you look at the overall, he's on 10. Valasa and Yee are his two closest competitors, and they're in 4th and 5th, respectively. So he could find himself with a good few points gap regardless of whether Poujade beats him to the button or not, he's going to have a nice little buffer coming in to stage 3 when we look at the overall points. But for good measure, I have no doubt that he's probably going to finish this one ahead. Poujade now 1.73 seconds adrift, so he put 0.4 of a second into him on that 50. Raphael would have figured more had he have had a better transition. And all he's going to do now is force Yi and Velasa further down the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Our second and third place getters. Schoenberg, I don't know what's happened to Jonas Schoenberg. He's not coming up on our timing screens.
He's 7th. Something's happened with Jonas. I don't know if that's reading right. Yi swung past him, which doesn't seem Velasa swung
There you
past
go. Van Riel does the job. He eases off a little bit.
Schoenberg, there he is.
Poujade, and then Schoenberg comes in 3rd spot. So, the overall now shows Van Riel a healthy 4 points ahead of Velasa, Poujade, Schoenberg. So, into the box to organise things goes Martin Van Riel. Jonas Schoenberg finished 3rd overall. He's now in a 3-way tie for 3rd with Poujade and Alex Yi, and he is going to be with Annie right now.
Jonas, a tough round, but a 3rd place finish in the 2nd stage.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
It was a tough one. I tried something on the bike.
Tell us, what did you try on the bike?
I tried to keep the pace up. Didn't want to wait for everyone after the run. And I think it worked out because on the swim, everyone split it up. It was good.
How is that uphill finish? That's different to London and tougher.
It's hard to time, especially when you for a sprint, you don't have experience. So it's hard always. The timing is key, especially on the uphill.
Great stuff. Jonas, I'm going to let you get ready. Well done.
I love hearing from them when they're absolutely gassed.
Just go away, Annie,
yeah, that's enough. This is enough questions. All right, let's look back at how it all played out. Of course, we started on the run, we finished on the swim. There wasn't much between them, and it's just majestic watching a shot like that. The best in triathlon. And off came Alex Yi, off came Jonas Schoenberg, off came Martin Van Riel. They ended up with a pack of 6 or so on the bike. But as we know, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and Alex Yi was good on the transition, and then, as he said, he tried something on the bike, split up the field, probably hurt himself a little bit as well, but there you go. The top 10 points goes to Martin Van Riel. He is now on 20 from a possible 20. Poujade, Schoenberg, Raphael, Yi, Velasa, Van der Stel, Nabel, and Beckergaard, and of course Felix Deschamps had a technical as well, so he records no time in that one, and Martin Van Riel is right in the box seat to take this one. 6 points ahead of Anthony Poujade and of Jonas Schoenberg.
6th place, all 14 points. Anthony Poujade, Iona Schoenberg, Raphael, Alex Yi, and Pascal.
All right, it's time to get ready for stage 3. This is where the money is made. And we're having a look at the points here. And Martin Van Riel is on 20. On 14 are Anthony Poujade, Jonas Schoenberg, Aurelian Raphael, Alex Yi, and Vasco Velasa in a 5-way tie for 2nd place behind Martin Van Riel. And Chris McCormack, not many people know you did a degree in accountancy. You're going to need it, because as this one finishes, and it is a bike swim run, so we are going to find out what our podium getters are going to be.
Those 4 or 5 are racing each other, and they're off.
Here we go. Onto the bike for the last time. A swim and a run. And good to see Felix Deschamps on the left of your screen back, as is Marco van der Stel next to him, after having some issues early on. And I tell you what, after that short break and finishing with the swim, starting the bike from a standing start and having to grind that big gear out of that hole, get the gear changes right and get up to speed and not miss it, hard work. Yeah, anyway.
You always wonder who's going to take the pacing on. If you look at Martin Van Riel there, he tends to be much more tactical. At least starting with the bike, you have that ability to sit back in the group and let someone else take that pace up, bring that heart rate down as much as you possibly can. We'll see if Jonas Schoenberg again takes that power, sits on the front and drives the pace. We'll see right now who's on the front in red. It looks like Alex Yee.
No, it's
Alex
Daniel
is back. It's Daniel Beckergord.
And then behind him is Felix Duchamp, who is pushing the biggest watts out of anyone. Alois Nabel, Alex Yee, Vasco Valasa, Van Riel. As Beckergord obviously moves to the back, they're all going to switch around, and if it's going to happen like we've seen happen in previous races, they're all going to finish within a second of each other, and it's going to set us up for quite the finish with 5 of our men all on 14 points.
Well, this is the race that matters for them. Wherever they finish, that's where they come.
That's it.
That's it.
Wherever they finish, that's where they finish, and it's going to be on the run. And there is one of them, Anthony Poujard. There is another, Iona Schoenberg. Now, yeah, we don't need to worry about ties, etc., because they're all going to finish in different places. And that is going to be it. No one else figures in the podium race. Nabel's on 6 points. Van der Stel is on 5 points. I feel for him, and I feel for Felix Duchamp, who both picked up 4 in the stages where they didn't have a technical problem, but had to pick up 1 otherwise, and Daniel Beckergord is on 4 points overall, picking up 2 and 2. So, 6 men we need to keep an eye on. There is Van der Stel.
If you're the French right now, like Poujard's on the front with Martin Van Riel right there, Schoenberg. But if you are the French, you move up towards the front of this swim, you open up and unleash the biggest swim of your career. We saw Laurent Raphael have a really tardy transition in that second stage, but was able to swim 4 seconds out of most of the field outside of Martin Van Riel to put himself still in the hunt. If he can do that again here, he has half a chance to put himself on that silver medal position.
They'll all know this too. They will all know exactly, because there's the big screen in the Zwemcentrum here in Rotterdam. They'll know exactly what they need to do. And they need to hope that Martin Van Riel absolutely implodes in this one, but the chances of that are very, very slim. Although we've seen 2 people cursed with the technical. Could happen, and then it'll be wide open, but it already is wide open for the podium positions, and that is, as we know, podiums in any year are hard to come by, let alone in the last 18 months or so of racing or not racing that we have had. Now we're into the last 900 or so metres of the bike. Schoenberg's off the front, but not by much, as they all stick together in this one. And I think for Schoenberg now, he's dropped to the back. He just needs to stay there, although he's the only one that's up in the saddle.
He's got such a big swim. He needs to be very, very clever on how he times this move up through the bike field into this next transition.
All right, you can see at the bottom of your screen, Van Riel is clear by 6. Poujard is on your screen, but he's joined by 5 other men on 14. And there he is, Anthony Poujard. And they're going to hop out in just a second, but that last little trip up the cobblestones is going to be very interesting as they head into the swim. Because equally, you don't want to burn yourself on this last one. But if you happen to be 1 second down on the rest of these guys after the cobblestones, you might miss the transition as they all take off.
Yeah. But what you're seeing too is they're getting off the bike at the same time, so that transition and run around the pool can get quite congested. So being a little bit further back, you can get a free run at it and get focus on where your box is and getting that swim cap on.
Well, Van der Stel's got nothing to lose, so he's going to win a bike race. That means nothing, but good for him. The rest of them come across the line all together. One man off the back there was Beckergord, but obviously they all run off together. There is Beckergord just ahead of Duchamp at the back of the field.
And the French in 3rd and 4th. Watch Orion Raphael unleash this swim. If he gets his transition right, he stuffed that transition up in stage 2 and was fastest in the water. He can't do it this time if he's got any hopes of getting on that podium.
So of these men that were all tied for 2nd place at the moment, and they're going to have to run it home after this swim, their run times from the last time around were 2:42 for Yee, 2:46 for Schoenberg, 2:47 for Raphael and Valasa, and 2:50 for Poujard.
Better transition from
I don't know what that tells you.
Better transition, but still slow, but enough to move up. Alex Yee in the red. This is going to be the swim of his life for Alex. He can run, fastest runner ever in Arena Games racing. He's going to need that on this stage.
He's the fastest runner ever, but there's 8 blokes between him and 2:42 and 2:50, so he's not doing it by 10 seconds. So he really needs to stay in the mix here. He's got a lot of contenders around him for the podium, and at the moment it's Poujard leading in lane number 4.
Is that Schoenberg in the white, or is that Raphael in the grey? Hard to spot on through. That's Poujard in the purple. Great swimmer.
So Raphael is actually in the grey at the top, and Schoenberg's next to him in the white. And then in the middle of your screen in the pink is Van Riel. Van der Stel down in lane number 7. Deschamps in lane number 8. And there is Daniel Beckergaard in lane 6. He won't figure in this. Although I do like his swim stroke. He's let himself down in some of the other areas. So
that's Poujard drifting back. Was that him in the black, drifting a little bit further back than he needs to be? I think he's going to be out of this. At the distance back, he's gone.
It's going to be the Frenchman, you would have thought. So this Van Riel obviously in the middle there. He's going to win this, you would think. Raphael, Schoenberg and Poujard are all in the mix here for second and third. And they're all going to come out of the water at roughly the same time. There is Poujard, makes the final turn. Final 50 now. And it's a four-way race here between Aurelien Raphael and the dark grey top of your screen. Next to him, Jonas Schoenberg of Germany.
Van Riel's brought his kick in and starting to move up on Schoenberg. Poujard.
Does Van Riel, he knows where he's at. He knows he doesn't need to win this. It's not going to stop him from trying to win this stage.
He'll have a crack at it. He's that type of racer. He, a clean sweep at 3 stages. He loves winning. He's capable of doing it. And why not if you're there?
We've only seen Jess Learmonth do the clean sweep of all 3. Now, if Alex Yee is not within 5 seconds, he's out of this, you would have thought, given everyone else's run. There he is, coming out of the water.
And he's hurting.
He doesn't look great.
Look comfortable.
Shoes go on.
Now,
Raphael.
Everyone but Van Riel is running for silver now. This is a run for silver, bronze, and the merit certificate.
I would take any of those. Forget gold. It looks like Martin Van Riel's going to do it. They're all on now, except for Beckergaard. And here comes Velasa, who dropped right off the back, so he's out of it. Raphael, Schoenberg and Poujard are now in the box seat for these podium positions.
Got to see
at the front.
If Yee can run back up onto these, and these 4 in front. Van Riel gone straight to the front, applying the pressure, and here comes Alex Yee in red. And he is flying.
He is. He's 20.6 kilometres an hour. So Van Riel's off the front.
Alex Yee is going to run straight through this field.
This is great. A running race for silver and bronze. There is your gold medalist at the front. He needs to finish at the back of this group that you can see on screen, or that you could see on screen just a second ago. And look at Yee go past Jonas Schoenberg.
At 20.6 kilometres an hour versus 19.8 with Raphael. Van Riel at 20.3. Yee can move. Jeez, this boy can run.
So Yee now is in bronze medal position. Raphael is in silver medal position. Raphael is 1.9 seconds behind Van Riel. And Yee is 3 seconds behind Van Riel. So that's the shootout. And now it's 0.7 of a second between Raphael and Yee. Now it's 0.6 of a second. Now it's 0.5. Here comes Alex Yee. They must be just together. There is Van Riel in front. And Yee has moved into second place. So he's now in silver medal position. From Raphael, can Schoenberg shut down Aurelien Raphael? 500 metres to go. Van Riel will take 30 from 30 unless Yee can run him down.
And Alex has looked across at him. He thinks he's half a shot at him. He's going to try and run away from Raphael. And Yee may close in on Van Riel. It won't upset the finish order. But getting a stage win is always nice.
Yeah, it is indeed. I don't think he's going to do it. 390 metres to go. And what you're seeing at the top left, top right of your screen is your top 3 as they will finish on the podium at this point. Van Riel in front, 300 metres to go. Yee has rocketed from 5th to 2nd, and he's having the run that's going to... He was 3rd in London. Look at that stride on him too. And he's going to be 2nd here, you would think. 250 to go. Raphael. Now, Van der Stel has put himself in the mix here to pick up some points, but he's not going to figure in the end. So Schoenberg should finish in 4th position from Poujard. And then, I don't know where Velas is going to finish. He's dropped right back. But it doesn't really matter, because Martin Van Riel was unreal last time around, as you said.
And now he's the real deal.
How many more puns on Van Riel can we find? It doesn't matter.
He's done it.
Because Martin Van Riel has done it, and he's going to take 30 from 30. If he doesn't catch him in the last 10 metres, no, he won't. Martin Van Riel The perfect race from Martin Van Riel. And what a run from Alex Yee to finish second ahead of Aurelian Raphael, but no one can catch that man.
That was great racing. Alex Yee, what run form. We know he's a magnificent runner. He's amazing across all three disciplines, but to unleash a run like that in stage 3 of an Arena Games, amazing. I'm keen to see those run splits. He's been breaking our records every time he's got on that treadmill.
I think that run, let's have a look. I don't have, Alex Yee ran at 2:42 in stage 1. He ran at 2:42 in stage 2. And we don't know exactly yet. We're going to go down to Annie right now because she doesn't let them catch their breath at all. She's with our champion.
No, I don't, Will, I don't. Wow, Martin, what a race. 30 points out of 30. There was a huge battle going on behind you, the other podium places. You just stole that race from start to finish.
Yeah, it felt super good. Like after the 2 first stages, I was pretty confident that I was gonna be up there. So the 3rd stage, I just could give it my all, and yeah, it was amazing to bring back another 10 points.
Did you change anything from London? What did you learn?
I think I just was a bit more aggressive in the transitions, which in London I didn't do yet because my last race was almost 1.5 years ago, so I just wasn't used to that. So I think this is really good practice for the upcoming season to get all the little things dialed in, so I'm super happy.
Great stuff, Martin. We'll see you on the podium.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, the ending was Martin Van Riel. The story, well, here it is. And I tell you what, bike, swim, run is as tough as any combination we could come up with. And the swim is really where it was won and lost in this one. Anthony Pujard put himself in the picture early, but the guys that had a good swim and a decent transition was basically where they were going to finish. And Raphael Schoenberg was there. But Yee, who came 5 seconds behind out of the water, just ran him down.
Yeah, when you have this much swim talent in a field like this, you have to shine in the other 2 disciplines, and Alex Yee really shone. His swim was very, very strong. He was just off the group of the best swimmers in the sport, but his running, we know how good he is, but to run 2:42 every single run of those 3 stages.
Isn't that outstanding? 2:42 stage 1, 2:42 stage 2, 2:42 stage 3. Alex Yee, he can run the house down, but he can't beat Martin Van Riel. Let's have a look at the standings in the wash-up of this one. I wish it would just keep going, but no man can do another stage of that. Martin Van Riel, 10:42.48, picks up another 10 points. Yee and Aurelian Raphael are your top 3. Jonas Schoenberg, Anthony Pujard, Deschamps, Van der Stel, Nabel, Beckergaard, and Velasa finished off the back. So maybe something went wrong for Vasco. I'm not 100% sure. That was just the results from stage 3. And the final standings are right there. Martin Van Riel couldn't do any better than that. Won every stage. Yee, Raphael are your podium getters. Schoenberg misses out by 1 point. A further point back, Pujard. Velasa, who finished last in that stage, drops, well, he had 14 points. He only picks up 1 more. And Felix Deschamps just battled away there despite having a 1-point effort in the end. Had a 5-pointer to pick up 7th position with 10 points overall.
It was a great race, wasn't it? Great to see the best athletes in the world finding their form coming up towards Tokyo. I love Arena Games racing.
Yeah, I love Arena Games racing too. We're going to go down to the presentation, and there is your man in pink, Martin Van Riel.
From France, Raphael in 2nd place.
Martin, but you make it look easy. How on earth do you do it?
It definitely doesn't look easy, but yeah, I try to be as comfortable as possible in the moments that are a little bit easier than the other ones. So that's I think that's what I did well today. Conserve a little bit of energy in the few moments that you can do it.
The race for me seemed a little bit more aggressive than what we saw in London from the other athletes.
Yeah, I think it was a lot tighter than in London. Like, we were a big group always, so it really came down to like the sprint or like a couple of seconds or even tenths of seconds. So yeah, it was a lot more tight and aggressive than last time.
The French were very punchy on the swim in the early stages, weren't they?
Yeah, they're known to be swimming machines. Look at this absolute unit there. So they are super strong, and I expected that they would make the race hard from the start.
Martin, it's quite a remarkable performance from you. As you said earlier, you haven't raced properly for 18 months. This must make you feel incredibly confident about what you've been doing in the last year in your training.
Yeah, I've been super happy with the training I've been doing with my training group, Joel Filial's group, and yeah, I'm super happy to be where I am, and yeah, even happier that I can show it in a race as well, that it's not only a training champ, but that I can also perform in races.
And this is an incredible setup here. It really is in Rotterdam. What are your thoughts on the Arena Games?
Yeah, they made it happen again. It's a beautiful arena here. We feel like gladiators again, and yeah, the way the weekend goes, it feels super professional. It's an honor for us athletes to race at the Super League.
Congratulations, Martin. Fantastic racing from you.
Thank you very much.
Great to do it in the arena. Wait till it's full of people one day, then we're really going to see some atmosphere. Martin van Riel just breaks it down with 10, 10 and 10. Alex Yee, well, let down a little bit with that finish in stage 2, otherwise would have contended more, but he takes second, and he should be very proud of that from Aurelian Raphael, who was very, very consistent as well. Schoenberg, Anthony Poujard, Poujard obviously let himself down a little bit with that early one, but second in stage 2. Vasco Velasa dropped right off. Deschamps had a technical, that did Marco van der Stel, and Alois Noble, Daniel Beckergaard. Macca, thank you so much for joining us.
It was awesome. Always a pleasure, Will.
It was absolutely fantastic, so thank you, and on behalf of all of us, and everyone who made the job done, or got the job done in Rotterdam and in London as well, thank you and goodbye. We'll see you for the championship season. Stay tuned to our socials for the announcement on May 5th on superleaguetriathlon.com, and we'll see you after the Tokyo Olympics.